These concrete trays are one of the easiest DIY projects I know. You don't need a lot of tools to make them, and they're really inexpensive. I've used this process to make things for my own house, for my hotel, and I've made quite a bit of money making custom batches for other hospitality projects as well. They combine well with small pieces of wood to make different accessories. And in this video, I'm going to go over a lot of my tips and tricks and things I've learned along the way. Let's start with the molds. When I got started with concrete stuff, I had to make my own silicone molds, but now there's a really good assortment available on Amazon, Temu, and just about everywhere else. I typically get a set of 2 or 3 molds for about $12 to $20, and I've gotten pretty much infinite use out of them. They are really durable. You just keep cleaning them and reusing them. When I want to control color, I like to mix my own concrete, and I just do this by adding 4 to 5 parts sand to 1 part white Portland cement. Now you can use gray Portland cement. It has no real difference to the concrete. It just white gives you a little more variability when you add pigments or want lighter colors. Just like in baking, you want to mix the dry ingredients first before adding in the water. This right here is a pretty good consistency. It's like really thick oatmeal. You see, if you add too much water, it weakens it, but not enough water and you're going to get a lot of bubbles, or the concrete might not settle down into all the nooks and crannies of the mold. This thickness is also why I don't like molds that are too complicated or too deep. It just creates so many little places for air bubbles, and the next thing you know, you pull a bowl with high sides out of the mold and the whole thing breaks on you. But there is some surface tension to the wet concrete, and so as you see, as I tap it with the spoon, kind of settles it out. And I like just taking my time and just keep tapping the edges, patting the top, and just really letting it work all the way down. You can also mechanically vibrate the concrete, and I use my Theragun to do this. It works perfectly for it. You just want a tabletop that's a little bit loose and wobbly. I try to have a few extra overflow molds so that when I mix a batch of concrete for the primary project, if there's any left over, it doesn't go to waste, and there's not this, half full bowl of concrete that I gotta break up later or rinse out in the yard. So these extra molds are just here on standby if I have a little bit left over. And if they don't get used, they just go back on the shelf, ready for the next batch. Rich dark browns and beiges are kind of in vogue right now in a lot of the interior design stuff, so I added in some brown pigment that I got from Fishstone, and everything kind of is looking like brownie batter. For smoothing the top, just these really cheap plastic putty knives work exceptionally well. I like to get the wide ones so I can kind of level the top as I go, and I just kind of wiggle my hand a little bit, and that just helps everything settle. Sometimes I'm in a hurry and I pull the molds off 24 hours after pouring them, but concrete gets stronger the longer you go, so I typically think it's good practice to wait at least 2 days. Try to loosen things around the side and then gently peel it back. Cups and deeper vessels are a little more challenging to demold, but these spheres are actually really sturdy. I try to scrape any spillover off right away, and then I throw the molds into some warm soapy water so they can soak for cleaning. Pigments are really inexpensive if you buy them in bulk. I get these 20-pound buckets from Fishstone, and the most pigment I've ever used in a single concrete piece is about 15 cents. It's really hard to gauge the finished color when it's dry, so you might want to add more pigment after you add water. I want to do some of these 10 to 12 inch round pieces, and I often like laying a board on a couple of other little strips of wood so that I have a flat surface but one that's pretty easy to vibrate. You see, I like to vibrate the board that's underneath the molds rather than the molds themselves. And again, if you don't have a Theragun, you can just bang on it with your hand. These are some of my favorite molds, and what I like about them is the edges are really thick. This leaves you with really sturdy concrete pieces, and since the edges, when they're upside down, are the deepest part of the mold, that thickness allows the air bubbles to get out. So you have to kind of look closely at the e-commerce listing and really try to zoom in and see how thick the edges are. Because on the surface, these two plates kind of look the same, but I dramatically prefer the ones on the left. Washing is pretty easy. I just use dish soap in warm water, and once I do like an initial sort of scrubbing, sometimes I even just put them through my dishwasher for a final cleaning. In a lot of places it's easier to get pre-mixed concrete dry in a bag, but this often comes with larger pieces of gravel. So I really like Quikrete 5000, and you don't have to, but depending on how thin the walls of your molds are, you might want to strain out some of the larger pieces. So 1/4 inch mesh works pretty well. Most off-the-shelf concrete is gray, and that's totally fine for this collection of grays and browns that I'm doing. And that one bag of Quikrete 5000 was just about $6 to $8. A hammer drill that has a drill only function is another way to vibrate a whole bunch of molds all at once. If you're thinking about starting a business where you're making these and selling these at crafts fairs or farmers market, which I actually think is a pretty good idea, and I don't normally recommend this kind of stuff because material prices can get expensive and things can take more labor than it might seem on the surface, but this is actually one of the few DIY projects that I think does have potential for sales. So if you're going to batch, I suggest doing it around a 50-pound bag of concrete. That means you'll need about 12 to 16 molds of various sizes. And while you could do a lot more at once, a 50-pound bag is normally the smallest bag of pre-mixed concrete. And if you start trying to mix too much, then you end up rushing filling up all the molds before the concrete starts setting, and things can get a little bit chaotic. Also, if you go above this number, you start to need a lot of floor space to lay everything out. This green pigment, also from Fishstone, has been one of my client favorites. Rich matte greens are just kind of soothing, but you do have to be careful because if you put too much pigment in, it kind of weakens the concrete and it doesn't fully cure. But luckily, all these materials are inexpensive enough that you can kind of just experiment, and if you lose a few, you've only lost about 15 minutes of your time. Oh, and then you also have to do a little extra cleanup. So before I get into the wood components, sealing the concrete, and a few extra tricks, I want to show you something that I think is pretty cool from the sponsor of this video. Novium makes these incredible pens, and I'm a pen guy. If you ever see me drawing in my sketchbook, it's not with a pencil, it's normally with a ballpoint pen. Novium sent me 2 of their Hoverpens, the Interstellar, which is what you see on the left, and the Future on the right. I absolutely geeked out about how they use magnets to make them hover, and functionally, I love that these things look elegant, and they're just ready to grab the minute you have an idea. And these aren't just stylish, they glide incredibly well across the paper, they are refillable, and they feel great in the hand. All of which makes them the ultimate gift idea for the design enthusiast in your life. And if you were to give them as a gift, be confident knowing that they're incredibly well packaged with a delightful unboxing experience. Hoverpen Interstellar is my go-to writing utensil, and I think it's kind of clever that it sits at a 23.5 degree angle, just as a nod to the Earth's axial tilt. It is available in 4 different colors, but I really like the black one. For those that prefer a fountain or rollerball pen, I recommend the Hoverpen Future, and it has interchangeable tips and a 60-degree angle. I have this one on a shelf in my living room. It's a great conversation piece for guests, and it's always handy if I'm sitting on the sofa and have a couple ideas. So for the next 72 hours, you can get 15% off all Hoverpens with the code Homemade Modern, or click the link in the description below. There is free shipping to most countries, and they're also available on Amazon. Now here's a few other mold types that I like. This is about as deep as I go with a bowl or planter. These donut-shaped ones with thick edges are really popular for the DIY classes that we've held. And there's also these 2-part molds. And these are interesting because the silicone sleeve is very thin and flexible, which makes it easy to demold. But you hold its shape with an exterior plastic shell that keeps it from collapsing under the weight of the wet concrete. I really like mixing beginner level skills in 2 different mediums. Adding simple wood components to very easy DIY concrete things keeps this project at a beginner level, but adds a little bit of visual complexity. Hardwoods like walnut and oak are not cheap, but if you know any woodworkers, you might be able to get a bunch of really small cutoffs. For the round platters, I measured the inside radius of the circles and made a little jig so that I could mark partial circles on some scrap wood. These are pretty easy to cut if you have a decent jigsaw, but I guess if you really want to batch out a lot of components, you could do some really cool stuff with a CNC. You could use the palm router here to round over the edges, but for small pieces like this, sometimes I find it's just easier to do it all with the orbital sander. For the rectangular trays, I wanted to make some lids and partial lids that I can recess around the edges so that the bottom of the lid fits inside the tray. I cut a scrap piece of plywood the same width as the inside of the tray, and I just used this as a guide for my palm router. You see, with the flush trim bit, I can just follow along this edge and it'll recess down just a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch into the bottom of the lid. I routed along longer pieces of wood, and now we can cut them to length with my compound miter saw. This is a really nice way to process scrap, and even 2 to 3 inch long pieces of walnut make really nice partial lids here. I experimented making some slight recesses with my angle grinder. This isn't hard to do, but it does add a little bit more sanding time to get it to a real smooth finish. So I think if you're actually trying to make these things to sell, keeping things simple and rectilinear is probably the best bet. For sanding small pieces, I just like to put a towel down. It just kind of grips the wood a little bit better, and it keeps it from getting all scratched up. Alright, let's talk about finishing and sealing. Now if you overflow the molds, you might have some little rough edges around the bottoms. I just use a screwdriver or a box cutting knife to kind of scrape this away. You can also use a sander or an angle grinder, but I find that creates a lot of dust. If you are precise with your molds, you can normally get away with just kind of rubbing the edges against a piece of wood, and that kind of breaks off all the little crumbly pieces. Sometimes I like to soak the newly demolded pieces in water. I just find that gives you a slightly better cure. The downside is that if your water has a lot of minerals on it, it can create like little white patterns and marks on the surface of the concrete. I like waiting a full week before I apply any kind of sealant or curing finish on the outside. I just want the concrete to be very dry first. And I've gotten the best results just using plain old mineral oil. I get this from Home Depot. It's in the wood finish section, and it's just used as a cutting board conditioner. There are also some mineral oil and wax combinations, but I like to use the mineral oil by itself first. Let that really soak in, apply a few layers, let them keep penetrating in, and then maybe finish it off with the wax combination. I had one client want a smoother finish on the bottom so it wouldn't scratch a wood desk. And so I tried pouring just a little bit of Total Boat epoxy. I stained it black just so it'd kind of be in line with the color themes. And I think this has a lot of potential. The mistake I made was I poured a little bit too much epoxy and that seeped out around the edges. But I think if you got the quantities right, this would be a pretty effective way of creating a non-marring bottom on these trays. This is just a silicone mat. It's a great surface to put under this type of work because epoxy doesn't stick to silicone. So it's very easy to demold, no mold release needed. And now I just have to figure out how to trim this epoxy overflow. I was able to chip off a lot of it and then cut the rest with the X-Acto knife. But you can also use the palm router again here with a flush trim bit, and it just kind of follows around the concrete and cuts the epoxy flush to it. One of these days I'm going to get into ceramics. It's still my kind of retirement dream, is to sit there on a potter's wheel and make things. But that requires a lot of equipment, space, and kilns are not cheap. So in the meantime, I think this is a really effective way to keep costs low, but make things that can be a little more elevated than your typical DIY project. There are so many different pigments out there, so you have unlimited color options. And if you want to get more technical, there's also a lot of things you can add to the concrete that allow you to pour thinner, make it a little bit more workable, but you can do a lot with just the basics. And if you can't find molds that suit your needs, you can make your own silicone molds. I have used Lego bricks many times to prototype shapes and then poured this Moldstar 30 silicone from Smooth On around them. So if you just look through my back videos, you'll see quite a few examples of this. I'll put links to everything in the description below. And thanks to Novium for sponsoring this video. And be sure to check out their pens, they're really cool.